Hey everybody, today's going to be part 3 of the modified J. Bates miter saw station build. This is going to be a follow-up. Stick around. I guess the biggest challenge that I had and the biggest thing that I did differently was J. Bates's wall is a flat wall like in a regular garage, and I have these posts here that doesn't allow me to put things up against the wall. And I could have put something against the wall, but these pillars are 5 feet apart, and I didn't think it would be sturdy enough or whatever. So, and I have outlets back there I need to get to. So I made sure I had enough room away from the wall. The way I did that was I made an extra set of drawers. This one right here is exactly the same as these ones, and then allowed to have support over here, and it's pretty good, and it gave me extra space. So I'll give you a look. I'll get the camera and look around the back of it and show you how I went about making it to where it had support. So here we are behind the miter saw station, and here's these supports I was talking about that stick out from the actual wall. And above that, I put the electrical outlets up there so they stick out another 3 or 4 inches or whatever. And then you need room to plug something into it without kinking your line for your extension cord or whatever. So that's why I brought it away from the wall, and I did things how I did it. Now, how I made it work was I made these triangles or gussets or whatever you want to call them, and I just made them the appropriate size, and I made sure that there was 1 or 2 for every cabinet, and it's real sturdy. It actually worked pretty good. And on this other side over here, if you can see, I didn't have enough over here. I didn't have enough room to make big gussets, so I just made a bunch of little gussets, and it seems to be good too. And as you can see here, here's the 4-inch port that goes to the big dust collector, and this hose right there, it comes off the back of the saw and goes into the cyclone that gets activated by the eye socket, and it works real well. So this is behind the saw, and now you know why I did things differently and how I accomplished it. There you go. The next thing I did differently on his design, there's a big pull-out drawer here he put for a planer. Well, my planer's over there on the table. I like it over there. It's going to stay over there. And so what I did was, when I put these drawer slides in on these other cabinets, I just used the same measurements and put in drawer slides here. So basically, you have the same depth of drawer. This one's just wider. So that was the next difference. The next thing I did differently was I made the stop blocks a little bit different, and I'll show you those in a second. And then the T-Tracks are a different brand than he used, and the reason for that is they was a little bit cheaper, and they came with the bolts and the wing nuts here. This is a pretty substantial cost for anybody, you know, to build this. So when I could cut little corners on costs, I did. So that's why those are different, and I'll show you the stop blocks here. So here's the stop block. Here's a little ruler edge, and I did basically the same thing he did, except I just did it in a different way. His is slotted out here, and there's a wing nut out here, and you adjust it back and forth to fine tune it. Mine, I did the spline the same way and cut it out the same way. That's how the bolt fits in there. So basically, with the ruler, all I did was put this up against a fence on the table saw, and I cut me a slot here, and I just used 2 small screws. Now you loosen those screws, it'll adjust. Well, I have it adjusted already, so I'm not going to move it, but that was just, for me, that was a simple way to do it. These bolts don't hit I have this dadoed out enough to where these screw heads don't hit the fence or the ruler or anything that's on the block. So why did I do it different? I don't know. It just looked cleaner on the front as I made this thing. These were the last things I made, so I didn't want a bunch of knobs and screws and everything hanging off, and it just looks, I think it looks clean, and that's why I did it. So now we have the dust collector. I did the same exact thing that he did when he first built his. I just put a 4-inch port, I have it going to my dust collector, but I also have this dust collection point here goes all the way to the back, and you hook a hose to it. It goes over to my dust deputy and shop vac. So now, and I have it going to an eye socket switch also. So whenever I pull the trigger, the dust deputy and the vacuum comes on automatically every time you pull the trigger. So when I have the dust collector on and that on, I have 2 forms of dust collection on it, and it's already 100 times better than what I had before. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some hardboard in here and encase this more so that I get a better draft, and then we won't have dust everywhere. So that's the difference on that. So somebody had asked me about the storage on the top. Why didn't I make the storage cubby thingy on the top? And as silly as it might seem, I have my flags up here, and I really don't want it to get to where the flags are blocked. And I have a future project in mind for that. I'm going to move flags over. I'm going to move the Marine Corps flag over a little bit. I'm getting another flag of an NFL team. So what I plan on doing is making some score boxes up here. So throughout the season, every week, I'm going to display their new record every week. So whenever Green Bay's like, 10-1 or something, and the other 2 teams are 1-10, then everybody will know it. And then my wife can stop talking about Tom Brady. So let's talk about the storage solution, the shop organization advantage we gained out of this. I had 3 of the 2x4 basics workbenches, and my outfeed table is a 2x4 basic workbench, and they're open-ended, and I've talked about it before, and everything just gets thrown in them, and then next thing you know, you don't know where anything's at. All of the stuff that was on those workbenches is in this station now, and I still have 11 empty drawers. So I have room to grow. I know where everything's at. I'm not going to run around looking for a glue bottle like I did when I started this project. Everything it's all organized, and it's just like every other shop project you do. You're like, why didn't I do this sooner? And this is no different, but it's probably more magnified because it's that important that you know where everything is. The shop time is very valuable. We all want to have more shop time, so if we're spending half of our time looking for stuff, then it's counterproductive. So I really wish I would have done this a year ago, but I've done it now and I'm enjoying it. One question that someone asked was, is this walnut that I trimmed this in? And yes, it is. I had some stuff that I was going to make some cutting boards out of, but when I got the wood, they gave me soft maple instead of hard maple, so it kind of put that off for a little while, and I have to travel to go get this stuff. So I used the walnut that I had for the cutting boards on this, and I didn't do anything special. I just trimmed them out on the table saw, sized them up, and put them on here. One of the things I didn't get in the video, this piece down here is a beautiful piece of wood, and I didn't get to show it in the video, so I'm going to show you now. So here we go. Somebody had asked me what kind of plywood this is, and it's Pure Bond plywood found exclusively at Home Depot. I just wanted to say that. Me and my wife went and we pulled out the plywood so we could see if we could bend it. We pulled out some Pure Bond and we pulled out some of the other plywood that wasn't Pure Bond, and you could bend the stuff that wasn't Pure Bond a heck of a lot easier than this. And it wasn't very much of a price difference, so I went ahead and did what the plans called for, and it was Pure Bond birch plywood, and so that's what I used. So I'm going to talk about the plans for a minute. I said before that I wouldn't have been able to do this if it wasn't for the plans. They're easy to understand. They're well drawn out. He put in hours and hours and hours making those. So people like me, I'm a beginner at this, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I've never built a drawer before or a cabinet or anything like that. All I've ever done before is like smaller crafts. So I haven't done anything like this before, and you know, not patting myself on the back, but it turned out pretty good. So that tells me that the plans are a good blame for how this turned out. So I'm gonna put a link below to his plans, and that'll take you right to his website, and you can buy the plans for this, or he has all kinds of other plans on there. You can go through there and buy whatever you want. Help the guy out, man. He did a really good job in these plans, and it made me look pretty good. So go buy some plans. I think that's about it for this one. If you can think of anything else I missed, or you have any extra questions or whatever, go ahead and put them in the comments. I make sure to reply to every comment. If you're taking the time to comment to me, I take the time to comment back, and that goes for all of them, unless there's trolls and I just delete them. Bam, out of there. So I'm gonna put a link to a couple more of my videos at the end of this one, and you know, I'm asking if you go ahead and check them out and consider subscribing. We like doing this stuff, and we want to have you come along with our journey. So see you next time.